See, life's all about making each other's lives a better place. I know that he just loves watermelon. Folks, I ditched my hat. I'm incognito here. I'm not sure if you're up to speed with Canadian politics or not, but the Trudeau government is actually a minority government, and the only way that they're pushing this bullshit through all the time is because they're being propped up by what they call the NDP, or the New Democratic Party. The leader of that party is Jagmeet Singh. Well, I just got a tip that he's here in Alberta. So I'm going to sneak up on the fucker, and we're going to see if I can't get in a interview with him, and I got a question for him. Let's see what happens here. Excuse me, sir. Yeah, I understand your security. Mr. Singh, Jagmeet Singh, I need to ask you a question if I may. Oh, just 1 second. Let me wipe the Trudeau poop off your nose there. Now, sir, please, let me ask him the question. Come on, quit hiding behind your security guard. I know you're afraid of the questions. You've been hiding for a while. Yeah, okay, that's great. So, Jagmeet, you're supposed to be the man that's representing the Canadian working man. No, don't duck the question now. You're supposed to be representing the Canadian working man, but you're the fucker holding them while Justin's fucking them all. We need some answers out of you. Well, there you go. He keeps ducking behind his security guard. He really doesn't want to answer the questions, folks. It's typical. Typical Canadian politician. Do whatever the fuck you want, but don't answer to the people. And when they come ask you questions, you duck and run like the fucking cowards that you are.
When I'm Prime Minister, I will keep my promises. Now,
then let me ask you this, Jagmeet Singh. If the Commission concludes that really it was not justified, would you withdraw your support of the Liberals?
That doesn't seem that it would be, depending on the results, we'd have to hear exactly what the results are. I don't want to presuppose the findings. If there's something that comes out in the findings that I didn't imagine or we didn't anticipate, then we'll have to reserve our judgment. But simply because it was the wrong decision wouldn't be enough for us to break or to force the country into an election.
We know that the vast majority of Canadians want to do their part to keep people safe and want to get vaccinated. And we also know that the vast majority of Canadians believe in having some way to prove that vaccination, having a vaccine passport. And we know that people on the front line that are providing care or providing services directly to Canadians can pose a higher risk and should be vaccinated. So we would work with unions and work with the workers on the ground to make sure we establish a way to move forward, but we absolutely believe that there needs to be mandatory vaccines, and there would be consequences for those who are not able to or not willing to do that, and we could look at what those consequences are. But
was the Pfizer COVID vaccine tested on stopping the transmission of the virus before it entered the market? If not, please say it clearly. If yes, are you willing to share the data with this committee? And I really want a straight answer, yes or no, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Regarding the question around, did we know about stopping immunisation before it's entered the market? No. We had to really move at the speed of science to really understand what is taking place in the market. And from that point of view, we had to do everything at risk.
In protecting both yourself, your family, and your community. And your efforts have helped to reduce the spread of this virus in BC. And the data that we presented last week show that these combinations work and work well. We are now actively working with Health Canada and will continue to work with the Public Health Agency of Canada to make sure that Canada has a single internationally recognized vaccine passport that includes the recognition of these combinations.
Well, none of that was true, as it turns out. And based on that lie, all of the mandates, all of the lockdowns, all of the non-pharmaceutical measures at home, curfews, all of that was based on that gigantic lie.
CBC News has learned the Liberal government and the NDP are in talks to strike a historic deal that would keep the Liberal minority government in power for 3 more years. That means we would not have a federal election until 2025.
We'll have much more to say, Bergen says, but right now all I can think is, God help us all. That's how the Conservatives are characterizing.
Would you have ever thought that in a nation like Canada, you know, this kind of tyranny would be taking place?
At Parliament's doorstep.
Parliament's doorstep. And I apologize to the rest of the individuals of my faith because we have a member in Parliament, Jagmeet Singh, the leader of the NDP, a complete scumbag.
The pandemic is changing, and our response has to change as well. Restrictions are being lifted. We need a plan to get out of the pandemic, to get to the end of the pandemic. A plan based on science and our fundamental responsibility to take care of one another.
We got questions! Who's starting anything? Don't get out of your head, bro. Don't say that out loud if you don't want to. Hey, yo, don't be weak. We got questions. We got questions. Running Bajran Singh. That's his new name. Bajran Singh. Questions, bro. Fake feet, he's flat feet. The wrong kind. Jagmeet, I'm wearing a mask, bro. You gotta respect me. Hey, Jagmeet, don't sell out, bro. Don't sell out. Where you going? Where you going? Pussy. Pussy. You're selling out, Jagmeet. Sell out thing, bro. You sold out at Gom, bro. You sold out at Gom. Watch out.
Jagmeet, you're on the wrong side of history. We will not forget. Irnieracing News.
We are now actively working with Health Canada and will continue to work with the Public Health Agency of Canada to make sure that Canada has a single internationally recognized vaccine passport that includes the recognition of these combinations.
Well, none of that was true, as it turns out. And based on that lie, all of the mandates, all of the lockdowns, all of the non-pharmaceutical measures as curfews, all of that was based on that gigantic lie. And yet, they will not acknowledge it. No, they just go ahead with whatever they want to do with us.
And yes, there is a small fringe element in this country that is angry, that doesn't believe in science.
Well, here we are, the end of 2022, and we've had over 10 million cases of COVID. The Australian Health Department, of course, stopped counting around September sometime because I think it was getting too embarrassing to admit that despite with over 20 million people being vaccinated, over half the country had caught COVID. Whatever happened to protecting you? Whatever happened to protecting you? But we don't want to talk about that anymore. We'll just pull it off the website and not discuss it.
In the case of Moderna, and I've asked the CEO of Moderna 2-3 weeks ago when he was here, they submitted trials since 2017. So I'm restating the question, how is it possible that when we found out in the fall of December, winter of 2019 about this virus, they submitted tests of their vaccines years before we found out about the virus? And I'm still asking that question now. How is that possible?
That doesn't believe in science, that is lashing out with racist, misogynistic attacks. But Canadians, the vast majority of Canadians, are not represented by them. And I know will not allow those voices, those special interest groups, those protesters who can, I don't even want to call them protesters, those anti-vaxxer mobs, to dictate how this country gets through this pandemic and how we recover our economy free from lockdowns, where people can get back to work and back to doing the things they want to do and keep our kids safe. They don't get to dictate policy of this government.
Guns, it's now impossible to buy or sell a handgun in this country.
You mean law-abiding citizens can't buy or sell handguns, but all the criminals can, and will, and still do, and will always do that.
We've moved forward on a ban on assault-style weapon that's been in place for 2 years, and we're making sure with C-21 that assault weapons will never be legal again in this country. The issue that's come up for a lot of people, and I suspect Eric, who sent in the question, is that there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation from the Conservative Party and from the gun lobby about us going after hunting rifles and shotguns. The reality is we're focused on banning the most dangerous weapons, those assault-style weapons that were designed to kill the largest number of people as quickly and efficiently as possible.
And once again, fuckhead, I don't believe a word you just said. Everything that comes out of your mouth is a fucking lie. You are a disgrace to Canada. You don't want to disarm us to prevent gun violence and crimes. You want to disarm us because you're fucking scared. Your agenda says you got to try some bullshit move here in the near future. And if you leave us good old country boys armed with our hunting rifles and gear, we're gonna kick your fucking asses. And that'll be the moment the whole world goes, holy shit, fucking them Canadians fight. So now you gotta sit up on that hill and pass bullshit laws and regulations, and just because you said you think we're gonna line up like a bunch of fucking lemmings, not to take a fucking bullshit shot this time, but to hand in our rifles, you got another thing coming, old son.
I think the whole point of pants is to cover your bum. So I think I have to reject this one. Even though, yes, he's got legs in the front, I've seen enough cute dogs walking on their hind legs or standing up that I think I'd go with option 2 on the dogs wearing pants. Thank you, Callum. I think with that, I am out of time.